Okay, Sanan, you can start now.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today is the 8th of November, 2025. We are gathered here today for the 207th session of Mindfulness for Beginners in English conducted by Nisarana Vanaya. I would like to warmly welcome Venerable Homagama Dhammakosala Thero for our session and everyone who's joining via Zoom today with us and anyone who may be watching later with our recorded versions. Our program, as usual, will commence with the in-session practice of mindfulness. This will be followed by the topic on for today, and then we will have questions and any reports that we have received. We will be presenting them to Bhante for his feedback. To start today's session, I now invite Bhante to start the in-session practice of mindfulness. Over to you, Bhante.
Thanks, Sonali. Hello, everyone. So today we can do a walking session to start our program. And here we are going to take probably like 10-15 minutes to do a mindful walking session. First, you can select a walking path, some space where you can walk comfortably, probably like 10-15 steps, that type of a space. And you walk in a comfortable manner, you walk back and forth in the selected space. And while walking, you try to be mindful of your steps. Simply notice the texture, temperature of the ground. Notice which parts of your feet is touching the ground. That way you try to be mindful of your steps. Time to time, attention might wander. Certain thoughts, memories might grab your attention. You see surrounding sounds, you hear surrounding, you see surrounding sights, you hear surrounding sounds. Your attention goes to those things. But among all these things, we try to return our attention repetitively to the steps. Time after time, we get distracted, but we catch it and we return our attention to the steps. That way, let's join for a mindful walking session. And all of us, we can continue the mindful walking till we hear the bell sound. If you feel like it, you can turn on video and join the walking session more actively. Okay, everyone. That's our time to do a walk-in session today. This is just to give you an idea, so you can practice on your own and share your experience. Sonali, you can take over.
Thank you, Bante. Next, we have the talk on today's topic. This week, we have picked a kind of an unusual topic. Bante would explain it more. The topic goes, eat the bugs. And the topic quote says, why are frogs so happy? Because they eat whatever bugs them. So to start this topic and explain to us further what this means, I now invite Venerable Dhammakusala again.
Yes, so it might be a nice topic for a children's program. But anyway, we have selected for a couple of weeks, so we can see how we can relate this very idea to our lives and the practice. Now, let's say when we consider frogs, in a way it feels like, they are very happy. They are in a pond, they simply swim around, they live freely. Yes, so that type of idea you can get simply looking at a frog. And I remember one of the books about Venerable Achancha. A foreigner goes to the forest with the intention of meeting Achancha. And when he went there, this foreign monk, actually he was a monk, when this foreign monk went to the forest monastery, Achancha was in a gathering. He was speaking to a crowd, and he was sipping his green tea, and he was laughing and talking to the people. So that way, when this foreigner saw Achancha for the first time, in his mind, he thought that this meditation monk, he's like a frog in a pond. He's happy, he's comfortable, and if it takes 30 years to achieve this level of happiness, it's worth it. Spending 30 years in a forest, and this meditation monk is very happy and comfortable in the present moment. And this foreign monk, this visiting monk, was thinking that it's worth it to spend 30 years in a forest if you can reach this level of happiness. Right? So our topic is a frog that is happy. And the quote says, they eat whatever the things that bugs them. That's the very idea. Now, usually we try to avoid the things that bugs us. We prefer avoiding such people. We prefer avoiding such situations. That's how we strive in life. But can you really avoid them? That's the question. No matter how much you try, still one thing or the other will start bugging you. No matter how many people you avoid, still certain people start bugging you, right? So that way you can see, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, still this world, these situations, these people, they irritate you. That's the truth. And when the irritations are more and more, when more and more things bug you, you feel really uncomfortable in your mind. Sometimes your mind is all over the place. Sometimes you feel no peace within. Sometimes you can't even keep your eyes closed for a few minutes. These fears are there, certain irritations are there, certain distractions are there. In a way, it's like a monkey mind. So these type of situations, these type of mental states, I'm sure all of us, we have experienced. And the very invitation is to find the real cause. Find the real cause for these irritations. Find the real cause for the pain and suffering that you're experiencing. That's the very idea. Usually we fight whatever the thing that irritates us. Usually we fight the people who bugs us. That's what we do. But you have to understand, fighting the things that irritate you, fighting the people that bugs you, it's like fighting a symptom. But the disease is there, and you have to treat the very disease. No point in fighting or treating the symptoms. When such symptoms appear due to a certain disease, and you have to identify, you have to diagnose and treat that very disease. If you can do that, then naturally the symptoms will disappear. That's the very idea. That's the very effort behind the meditation practice. Otherwise, most people, they keep fighting the symptoms. They keep fighting the things that irritates them. They keep fighting the people or the situations. That's how they try to survive. But that's not the way. That won't bring you real freedom, real peace. Right? So in a way, whenever things irritates us, whenever things bug us, whenever we suffer, there is deeper wisdom or deeper knowledge hidden behind those situations. When something bugs you, there is a deeper knowledge to be found. When something irritates you, when you feel extreme levels of suffering, you can find deeper insight behind those situations or people. But you have to really put these situations into practice and develop that insight. If you keep fighting them, if you keep avoiding them, then you won't be able to develop the insight that these situations bring us. Right? So that's the very idea. Let's say in one of the teachings of Buddha, he was explaining about six situations where a person should go and meet a meditative monk, or a monk who has practiced for a long time. What are these situations? Right? They are usually day-to-day situations. First situation, or the first time, would be a person who is suffering with desire. Due to the desire, this person is suffering. Maybe sexual desire or desire towards other things. So these desires create a lot of chaos, difficulty in this person's life. Maybe he can't focus on his studies. Maybe the family matters are destroyed due to these desires. So this person experiences a lot of friction due to desire, and that's a good time to go see a meditative monk or a person who has developed their meditation, developed their mind. Then Buddha goes on to explain a second situation, a person who suffers with anger. Due to anger issues, this person suffers. He can't work properly, he get into trouble at the workplace due to anger. Right? Even family affairs are affected due to anger. So that way this person experiences a lot of anger within him, and that's a good time to go see a meditative monk. Then the third situation would be a person who is suffering with laziness, drowsiness. Due to laziness, due to drowsiness, this person can't do the work properly. This person can't attend to family matters properly. Always sleeping, low energy, drowsiness, right? So that type of a personality, right? Then the fourth occasion would be a person with a distracted mind. Distractions, the mind is all over the place, and remorse appears. When that type of a mind is experienced, when a person is suffering due to such a state of mind, this person should also go find a solution to them. Then the fifth occasion would be doubt. Doubting everything. Especially if you are in a relationship, then doubting is a very bad sign. You have to have a certain trust in the other person. If you keep doubting, if you keep searching their stuff, if you keep trying to spy on them, then it's not gonna work. No, not only in the relationships, even education or work, they are always doubting whether this is the right line of work, whether this is the right profession for me, right? So they keep doubting. Then the sixth occasion would be a person who doesn't know meditation, who doesn't know where to keep his attention, who doesn't know the primary object. That person too should go and meet a meditative monk and ask him how to find the peace within. Right? So these six situations are explained, and Buddha says although these situations are difficult, it's an invitation for you to develop insight. These situations you experience a lot of friction, but it's an invitation for you to improve your practice. That's the whole idea. So when we experience friction in this world, when we experience many people and situations that bugs us, we have to find a solution for this. Avoidance won't do. Many people try to practice avoidance as a solution, but that won't do. Instead, the whole idea of the practice is simply to find the insight, find the knowledge behind these irritations, develop the insight facing these situations. That's the very idea. Let's say you go to a group, a meditation group, or you meet a monk or a practitioner, you get some advice, you start your mindful journey. You start your mindful walking, sitting practice. And the beginners, they start complaining about something. They say, I feel even more friction in my mind due to the practice. When I start practicing mindfulness, when I try to be mindful, I start to feel even more friction in my mind. My mind is even more distracted. I get a lot of thoughts. I feel fear in my mind. So that way, many people, they complain that by practicing mindfulness, their suffering, it has increased. That type of a complaint is there. They start finding faults within them. They start finding fault in other people. And sometimes even they feel a lot of friction, irritations in their body and mind. Right? So these complaints come. But you have to understand, it's not the awareness that's the problem. These problems, these irritations, these difficulties, they have been there for a long time. Now, when you become more and more aware, these things come to light. That's what happens. You have been distracted for a long time, but due to the awareness, you get to realize my mind is always distracted. It's like a torch. You use a torch and you travel somewhere with the whole help of that torch, right? And you see a lot of spiders, centipedes, scorpions on your path. And many people, they start complaining about the torch. This torch is creating all these troubles. Due to the torch, I am noticing these spiders. Due to the torch, I am noticing the centipedes. But you have to understand, it's not the torch is not the problem. The torch is simply bringing these things to your attention, or bringing these things to your light. Right? So awareness, it doesn't create problems. Awareness doesn't create additional friction. The problems have been there for a long time. The friction have been there for a long time. Now, due to the improved awareness, you get to see them more and more. Right? So that very idea you have to explain to a beginner. Tell them that it's not the practice. Instead, you have been suffering for a long time. You have been distracted for a long time. Now you get to see them more clearly. You get to see them more clearly due to the improved awareness. That's the whole idea. Now, let's say in Buddhism, demons, let's say demons, they are not always considered evil. In the worldly sense, people think that demons are evil. That's the usual thinking. But if you simply study these ideas of demons, or even the concept of Mara, right? Although it appears frightening, although it appears evil, these situations, these things, they teach us something important. They are frightening and enlightening at the same time. They appear frightening, but if you go deep in them, you realize there's a greater teaching behind this. It's in a way, these demons, they represent changing impermanence. For example, let's take something like death. death appears frightening. Death, we feel like it's evil. Right? But you have to understand, although it appears frightening, that's the changing impermanence. This worldly nature. When you are born, you are destined to die. Death, it might appear like something frightening, but if you embrace it, if you develop more awareness towards it, then that very death can enlighten you. That very death can drive you towards Nibbana. That's the whole idea. So these things, they appear frightening on the surface. But when you go deeper inside into them, in a way, they are liberating. They help us to liberate. They help us to understand the nature of life. That's the whole idea behind these things. Although these things, they appear frightening, they appear evil, you have to understand those things will teach us the greatest lessons. I have seen a video a few days ago. That video is probably like 5 minutes long. And although that video was very disturbing, although that video was very frightening, it had a lot of insight within it. A family, probably like 15, 20 people, relatives, they have gone on a trip and somewhere in a river or something, they took a bath there. And 5 young people, age 16 to probably like 18, 20. 5 of them drowned and died. Right? So you can see the relatives, the mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, all of them are there. And these young people, they have died. Right? So it's like a very disturbing video, a frightening situation. But in a way, it shows the reality of this life. Right? Some people are crying, mothers are crying, fainting, that type of a thing. Then again, another person coming and blaming them, saying that we told you not to go for a bath here. You guys didn't listen to us. Somebody came and, complaining. Then again, some people went on some boats and, trying to recover the bodies. Then a body is dragged towards the ground and a lifeguard tries to, save them, right? A whole type of a situation full of chaos, right? But if you watch that video in a different perspective, you get to see a lot of insights within it. This is the utter reality of life. When we see such a situation, we would prefer not even seeing such videos, not even experiencing such situations, and we wish we dare not to have such things in our own life. That's the whole idea. But if you think about life, if you think about your own very life experiences, I'm sure at least 1 or 2 times, even you have gone through such terrible experiences. You can't avoid that reality in life. We prefer order. We prefer things going according to plans. We do many things for the safety of our family members, children. But can you maintain that order? That's the question, right? No matter how much you try, still you can't maintain that order. World, in a way, it's a polarity, order and disorder. Those are poles. When you establish order, as a result, disorder will follow. It's like those yin yang signs in Zen. Yin yang, you feel like they are opposites. Yin yang, you feel like they are fighting each other. But if you look deep into that very symbol, you get to realize the very white part is dependent on the black part. The very black part is dependent on the white part. Without the black part, there won't be the white part. Without the white part, there won't be the black part. Right? So these yin-yang things, they are interdependent. They are poles. Life is, you have to experience this polarity. When you experience order, when you try to establish order, as a result, disorder will follow. When you see light, darkness will follow. Right? So in a way, this very life, it's a polarity. These are poles. Right? So although these things, no matter how much we try, we can't always establish order. Disorder will follow. Right? So in such a situation, such a terrible situation, you can see no matter how much they try, those parents, those relatives, they have tried for their entire lifetime probably and established order in their life. But within few seconds, within few minutes, everything becomes chaos. Disorder appears. And no matter how much you try to, reason it, it doesn't make any sense. No matter how many excuses you give, still you can't find peace, right? So such situations, they appear frightening. They appear very disturbing. But if you dig deep into them, you find profound wisdom behind it, right? So even seeing somebody else's suffering like that, you are encouraged to continue your meditation practice. Seeing such a terrible situation in somebody else's life even, you are driven towards Nibbana. And let's say even in your own life, maybe at least couple of times, you have experienced such a situation. You have experienced death of your loved ones, maybe suicide, maybe murder, maybe some other unexpected disease like cancer, right? So when these situations come, we try to reason it, we try to give excuses, we try to deny, but no matter how much you try, still you can't figure out why it has happened. No matter how much you try, you can't make peace in that situation, right? So that's the reality. That's the nature of these things. So you can always see this polarity in this life. When you establish order, disorder follows. When you are born, death follows. When you establish good, evil will follow, right? So that way, the whole life, whole reality, it's a polarity. And when we experience friction in our lives, when we experience things that bugs us, you have to understand this is only a single pole of a polarity. What is the other end? Right? Why do you feel this friction in your mind? Why do you feel extreme levels of suffering in your mind? And if you dig deep, if you investigate that situation, maybe you had some expectations. And when those expectations are not met, you feel friction. You expected a certain person to behave in a certain way. And when they don't behave like that, naturally, you feel friction. You feel irritations, you feel the situations that bugs you, right? So that's the very idea. In order for you to feel the friction, in order for you to feel the extreme pain, there is a reason behind it. The other pole. Maybe you were expecting people to behave in a certain way. Maybe you were expecting a certain situation to turn out in a way. And when they don't happen, naturally you feel friction. Naturally you start to suffer. That's the very nature behind these things. You can't really see suffering in an isolated sense. Instead, suffering comes as a result of something else. Maybe your expectations. Maybe you loved someone, right? As a result, the suffering follows, right? So that way, when there are irritations, when there are people who bugs you, when there are situations that you feel extreme levels of pain within, those are situations you can dig deeper and develop more insight. Don't try to run away from them. Instead, try to investigate, why do these situations irritate me? Why do these people bugs me? Why do I feel extreme pain in my mind? That way, if you can investigate these situations, then you are ought to find deeper wisdom behind them. So that's the very idea of eating the bugs. Instead of, running away from them, the frogs will tell us that you should eat them. And how to eat them? Simply try to investigate and see what is the real reasoning behind. That way, you have to continue your mindful observation. That's why it is really important for you to make mindfulness a part of your life. Not only during the sitting time, not only during the walking time. Instead, in your day-to-day life, you maintain a certain level of mindfulness. And when situations irritate you, you can simply observe it mindfully and see how this mind behaves. When you get into trouble or get into arguments with certain people, notice what is the reasoning behind this. Maybe they have challenged your ego. That probably is the reason. These people, they shouldn't treat somebody like me in this way. These people, they don't know how to talk to me. Right? So when our ego is challenged, naturally we get into arguments, the anger comes. So that way, if you can investigate these situations, then you can find wisdom, insight behind these situations. Right? So simply being mindful and investigating these moments would be important. Time after time, you see the friction, and when the friction appears, you investigate and see what's the reasoning behind it. When you feel anger, when you feel sadness, investigate and see what's the reason behind it. When you get into certain extreme situations, when you cry, when you break down, simply be mindful and see what's happening. So that way, although these situations, they are irritating, although sometimes they are frightening, although they appear evil, if you approach them mindfully, if you approach them with wisdom, then you get to develop insight. You get to see why these things keep bugging me, why these people irritate me so much. And when you develop that profound wisdom, as a result, your mind will be more free. I remember a couple of weeks ago, somebody was saying in their meditation report, Mante, I see that my mind is suffering due to this person or due to this problem repetitively. And I'm not trying to change it. I let the mind experience this friction time after time. I let the mind experience suffering time after time. And one day, this very mind will learn and it will let go. Right? So in a way, approaching things mindfully, you go through these situations. Maybe for many rounds, you go through these situations, and the very own mind will experience the suffering time after time. And one day the mind will be ready to let go. That's the very idea. You can support it with mindfulness. But when the suffering comes, you can't simply tell the mind not to accept it. That's not how it works. Without you even knowing, the mind has already accepted the suffering. The mind is feeling friction. The sadness appears. Sometimes you break down, right? So these things, in a way, the mind accepts these things without your approval. It won't ask for your permission before it feels pain. It won't ask for your permission before it creates anger. No, that's not how it works. Instead, you see how the mind is creating suffering time after time. And as a result of this mindful observation, one day the very mind will let go. That change will happen when you continue with your practice. right? So that's the very idea for today. The things that bug you, those things come with deeper insight behind them. But in order to find that insight, you have to accept such situations and investigate deep into those situations. And if you investigate that way, then in a way, you are eating the bugs. You're accepting these situations and you develop the wisdom that these situations bring you. Right? So that's the idea. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Bante. Turns out we have a lot to learn from frogs as well. Thank you, Bante, for that. The idea is to analyze, like Bante said, our own bugs and through mindfulness, through awareness. That was very insightful. Now, next on the agenda is our reports. I now invite Panchani to read the reports and also run the beginner's guide to mindfulness as well, to meditation as well. Sorry, Panchani, are you there? Can you unmute? Doesn't look like she's there. Oh, yeah, she is. Okay.
I'm so sorry, the host didn't let me unmute for some reason, but it's okay now. Okay. So thank you, Bante, for that insightful talk. I hope we can all investigate our own bugs through mindfulness. Nisarnavani has prepared 2 YouTube videos to guide you with your practice of mindful sitting and mindful walking. You can allocate a small time daily and start practicing mindfulness with walking and sitting. You can continue until you complete 2 hours of each practice in total. And you can write down your practice as a reflection report under titles of mindful sitting or mindful walking and mindfulness during daily activities. If it's mindful walking, you can describe what you felt whilst walking, sensations under your feet, whether the ground was cold or warm, roughness and smoothness of the ground. If it's sitting posture, you can describe prominent sensations such as how your body weight shifted, such as incoming and outgoing breath at nostrils, how your abdomen was racing and falling, etc. You can email your reports to beginners@nisarnavania.com or send as a Google form. You can continue your mindfulness practice according to the guidance given by Bante. And I think the recordings of sessions are also available online as well. You can see the guidance in the links given. With that said, I'm going to move on to the one report that we have received today by an adult. Mindful walking. Venerable Swami Vahansa. Primary object, sensations on soles. Time 7:40 a.m., duration 45 minutes. Place compound on gravel floor. Walked 5 times to and fro freely. Stood at the edge of the path and observed the standing posture as a pillar. Walked labeling feet as left and right. Felt roughness and hardness of the floor. Further felt wetness, coldness, softness on the floor. Could observe 8 footsteps in a length. When thoughts arised, I iterated thoughts, thoughts 2 times, which drew my attention back to feet. Heard songs from the neighbor's house. It was from a subwoofer and very loud. I effortlessly set my foot according to the rhythm of the song. Oh my gosh, I thought I focused attention to foot again. It was hard, I must confess, because I love that song. Anyway, I struggled, but the struggle ended when the song finished. I meditated thinking, after the storm comes the calm. Mindful sitting. Primary object, motions of the abdomen. Time 8:40, duration 40 minutes. Place on a cushion in the room in easy pose. Sat down and observed the posture as a statue. Listen to sounds of nature which calm down my mind. Observe belly motions, labeling rising and falling. Observe 6 motions in a length. Heard noises. Thoughts appeared, but thoughts 2 times. The attention went back to the rising of the belly. I'm so glad that I didn't change the easy pose for 40 minutes. Now I'm a bit used to it. Teruvan Saranai Uthum Swamin Wahanse. End of the report, Bante.
Panchali, that at the end of that walking report, struggle ended. I didn't hear that last part.
So it says thoughts appeared, but thoughts 2 times. It says the struggle ended. Let me just find that bit. So
The
it
walking.
says, yeah, walking one. Heard songs from the neighbor's house. It was, I effortlessly set my foot according to the rhythm of the song. It was hard, I must confess, because I love that song. Anyway, I struggled, but the struggle ended when the song finished. I meditated thinking, after the storm comes the calm.
Yes, okay, thanks. Yes, so that's a good idea. After the storm comes the calm. Yes, you have to go through that very experience. And as a result only, you will get to see that calmness. You will get to see the end of the storm. Most of us, we try to run away from them. Most of us, we don't last long. So you don't get to see the other extreme. But whenever these storms come, if you face them with courage, then as a result, you get to see the calm that follows. That's the very idea of today's theme even. Right? So that's a good lesson for our lives. And not only in meditation, even in our daily lives, we have to face certain situations, although they might be troubling, although there is friction. When you go through them, you get to see the calm behind that storm. That's the very idea. So continue your practice, and when troubles come, you can use this mantra. I face the storm and I get to see the calm behind it. That way, we go through these situations and we get to develop wisdom in the practice. So continue and let us know your progress.
Much merits, Bante. And thank you to the person that submitted that report. It's helpful for everybody when you submit your reflection reports. So I would encourage, I know how my own practice developed when I was writing, when I was receiving the advice from Bante. So I would encourage everyone to submit their reflection reports and grow from feedback. With that said, it is now time for you to raise any questions that you might have for Bante or time for discussion. So if you could raise your Zoom hand and ask any questions that you might have. Can't see any hands raised up at the moment, but I will give a bit more time and I'm sure somebody will come forward. But in the meantime, I just wanted to share, Bante, that although there are reactions that happens at times, I can feel my anger rising at times, sometimes with reactions, sometimes without reactions. But what has happened as a result of regular practice is that I can forgive myself much more easily now than before. And that chain of thoughts doesn't come. So I just wanted to share that from my own experience.
Yes, so that change you are experiencing, it comes as a result of like many months, many years of painstaking practice, right? So it's like, you know, the mind is easily letting go. Due to that, you can feel that the emotions are there, thoughts are there, but you will be able to forgive faster. The resilience, that quality of the mind has improved. That's the way. When we say letting go, it is not intentional, although it appears like intentional. You can't simply let go. Go to a person who is suffering with a problem and tell them, it's not a biggie, let go. Will they able to do it? Or they might even punch you, telling this problem is real. It's real to me, right? So you can't simply say, let go. That won't happen. Due to many months, many years of painstaking practice, the letting go would be the result. The mind, you have trained it for a long time. And as a result, you can see the mind, although anger comes, although thoughts follow, you are able to return back to normal much faster. That's the resilience of the mind, right? So that improvement is a result of many months, many years of painstaking practice. That's what you have to remember, and a long way to go as well, right? So when we see the results into a certain level, it's easier for us to develop the courage to continue the practice even for many months, many years to come.
Thank you, Bante. It'd be really lovely if somebody could contribute to our discussion or ask any questions and share their experiences, and so we can
There
all
is a
grow
raised
from.
hand, Manjana.
Oh, is it? Didn't see that.
Thank you. Is that okay, Panchini? Shall I
Yeah,
ask
Samantha, go
my
ahead.
question?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bante, for today's advice. That was a very interesting topic and important, you know, everything that we face in everyday life. I was just wondering now, I've experienced this myself all the time, really, because we're always faced with difficult situations in life. And so I mean, I realized that the mindfulness is important to actually be aware. First of all, catch the storm. Otherwise, I'll be proliferating and I'll be in the storm and reacting to the storm. So first of all, I had to have awareness. So when I'm aware of the storm, and I'm now, as Bante advised, now we investigate to see the wisdom and deepen the wisdom. I would investigate and see the cause, the reason why, about the problem of the storm. And so would I be analyzing it? So there's two things going on. So I'm already, say, the mood, the emotion is there. So would I be sort of like be able to analyze, think rationally, or would I come away from the storm for a while, calm the mind, and then when the mind is calm, go back to finding out the reason why this is and blah blah blah. So that's one scenario. And then I was thinking the second scenario is, would I just be with the feelings or watching how the body is as a result of the storm, the emotions, and see whether they're changing? Would that give the wisdom? So how would I approach the storm, the angle? Thank you, Bhante. That was my question.
Right. So investigation in the sense of being mindful and going through that very experience mindfully. That's the very idea. So sometimes, let's say, sometimes when you go through it for the first few times, you don't really see what's the reasoning behind this. You don't get to see it, right? But when you go through these experiences for many rounds, when you go through them mindfully, then little by little you develop more awareness, and as a result, it hits you. You get to like a sudden kind of a momentary realization. You get to see, this is the reason. This is why I feel so much friction in my mind, right? So that way, the whole idea is simply to go through these experiences mindfully, and that would be your very investigation. Notice the bodily pain, notice the thoughts, notice the emotions. That way, simply go through those experiences mindfully. Not only for once, every day we may get many chances with different situations. So that way you can approach your daily life mindfully, and as a result, you will be developing your practice. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Bhante. I mean, yeah, I think I understand what Bhante is saying. So the mere fact of not initially just analyzing the cause of the problem, but just catch it and just be aware, and the experience itself one day through the being awareness will teach me the what to do, basically, and just observe and then see, simply, and not to
Yes,
sort of
simply
like think
analyzing.
about it or analyze it.
Yes,
Sorry.
simply analyzing won't do, because our awareness or our mindfulness is not strong enough, right? So maybe we get to see a certain reason today, but tomorrow it will be a different one, right? So thinking about situations, analyzing situations, that might not be the proper approach, but going through them mindfully. When I say investigate, simply I meant going through these situations mindfully for many rounds, and as a result, you develop more wisdom, and you can really see your mind is easily letting go of these situations.
Thank you, Bhante. That's very interesting and challenging. Yeah, because I can't become a doctor overnight. So, yeah. Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Samantha, and thank you, Bante, for your valuable feedback. If anyone else has any questions, we've got a few more minutes. You can raise your Zoom hand. Sonali. Oh, Sonali's got a raised hand. Go ahead, Sonali.
So I have been, Bhante, experiencing something in the last week or so. I have been waking up with full of thoughts. I'm going to bed very calm, and it's not about anything significant. It's really insignificant things, but I'm waking up with like flooding amount of thoughts. I like to be usually my mornings I wake up and I think I remember Venerable Manu said at one point, take 10 breaths even if you're not going to immediately meditate. 10 conscious breaths, just a split second, just so that you could just clear my mind. I feel like I'm just waking up with problems that I didn't know I had the night before. I don't know what is going on, Bhante, but it's not like I am going through a relative difficult period or anything like that. It's just really random. Just some advice would be nice.
Yes, now when you wake up, how long does it last? Does it continue for the whole morning? Or
No, Bante, it's just that my calmness in the morning, and once I wake up, I've even forgotten what I'm writing lists in my head as to what I'm going to do or something really irrelevant. But once I wake up, it's all gone. But I'm very disappointed because my mornings were very calm usually.
yes, right. So those things happen. It's like, sometimes seasons change, sometimes your body chemistry change, right? So due to these changes, maybe certain phases we experience. We experience that our minds are full of thoughts waking up. Or sometimes maybe we experience difficulty in our sleep, right? So those phases, they could be due to various reasons, but some advice would be for you to do like 15 or so minutes of a sitting session early in the morning, if possible. That way you wake up with a chaotic mind and you sit with it for a while and you can really see how it is calming within 10-15 minutes, right? So that way certain things happen. It's like, sometimes your body get allergies due to certain situations, maybe weather changes, maybe flowers blossom, right? So those occasions the body get allergies. Same goes for the mind, right? So due to certain causes, these phases come. What we have to simply do is simply continue with some support to the practice. That way, when you continue after a few weeks, you realize now it has changed. You return back to the normal again, right? So that way, maybe early morning, 10-15 minutes at least, 10-15 minutes of a sitting session would be nice, and you get to see that within few minutes the mind clears, it calms down, right? So it's like a backlog from the sleep that you're experiencing, and sleep.
Bante, do I like analyze what it is, or do I just like meditate completely something different?
No need to
Like you
analyze.
said, analyze the bugs. I was wondering whether I should.
No. Eat the bugs means simply go through that experience mindfully. Take few 10-15 minutes of mindful sitting to allow your mind to calm down. That would be a change in your schedule to do a few minutes early in the morning. But now the mind has changed, no? So you have to adjust yourself accordingly. Try and see. We can try various options and see how they are helping.
Thank you, Bante. I will definitely have to
So
try something because I have noticed it.
Calm. You go to sleep calm, but you wake up with that type of a state. So
Yeah.
maybe in the sleep, this happens, this comes, so we can allow our mind to settle down for a while. And that would be a change in your schedule. But since the mind has changed, you can try and do that.
Right. Thank you, Bante.
Sonali, you can take over now since it's 9 o'clock.
Ashini has also raised her
Oh,
hand.
sorry, Ashini, I didn't see your raised hand. Apologies. Ashini, you can ask your question from Bante. Ashini, can you unmute and ask your question from Bante?
Recently I came
Sorry,
across-
Ashini, we can't really hear you. Can you come closer to the mic or?
Sir, lately I came across a YouTube video by people named
Can't hear, no.
Sorry, you should come closer to the mic, Ashini, or
Sir, can you hear me now?
very faint. The sound is, Ashini. I'm sorry, we can't really hear you clearly.
Sir?
Can you speak a bit louder?
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
I came across a YouTube video related to sleep cycles lately by IQ meter, and they say that one sleep cycle is 90 minutes, and two cycles means first two cycles means preparation for the sleep. The second two cycles means the deep sleep, and the fifth and sixth cycles means the dreaming time or something like that. As that Miss was telling about sleeping, and they have indicated that in that video, if somebody wakes up before a cycle ends, that person will come across various difficulties mentally and physically. So that I wanted to know, Swami Nuhansa, what is the minimum sleeping time that Oba Hansa can recommend to a meditator, so that I can adjust my sleeping time accordingly? Because I have heard that Lord Buddha has preached that a normal meditator should sleep only for 4 hours from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. But if I calculate about 4 cycles with including the 2 deep sleep cycles, it will come about to 3 a.m. in the morning. I just normally wake up at that time. But I wanted to know whether what is your opinion on that, Swaminathan?
Yes, so that's some interesting information about the length of the sleep cycle. And in Sonali's question, according to that information, if you wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle, then you might experience such difficulties. That's the idea Ashini is adding. Now, we can't really set a standard time for our sleep cycles, so that might be a problem. It changes, right? It changes a little. So a meditator, a long time meditator, usually they can feel that their minds are naturally waking up after some hours of sleep. So that would be the best sleep schedule. Even for Sonali's problem, she can see whether the mind is naturally waking up or whether it needs more sleep in order to wake up naturally. Usually when you set a bell, when you continue for some time, you get to see that even the before the bell rings, your mind is ready to wake up. Right? So in a way, we have to approach these things in a systematic manner. You don't compromise your sleep time. Right? You go to bed at a certain time and you wake up at a certain time. Right? That way you have to train yourself. You don't compromise on that. I don't know whether you can do it in a lay life, might be difficult with certain functions and things like that. But when you train your mind, you go to sleep at a certain time, you wake up at a certain time, not only for a day or two, not only for a week. You do it for many months, many years. And as a result, you get to see that the mind is naturally waking up at the end of the sleep time, even before the bell rings. Right? So that way you have to figure out the proper balance. It depends on your busyness in life. Maybe hardworking person, right, might need longer hours. It depends on your meditation hours in a day. Meditation hours might help you reduce the number of sleeping hours. Right? So that way you yourself only can figure out the proper balance. We can give some guidelines, see how the mind is naturally waking up, see how long it takes to naturally wake up. That way we have to approach, right? And when you experiment with it for some time, maybe within few months, you get to figure out the proper balance, right? So that way you experiment and you figure out your own balance, see whether you are tired during the day. Maybe lesser number of hours will make you tired during the day, right? So you have to find the proper balance depending on your schedule. If somebody is a busy person, then they might need few extra hours in order for them to, relax their mind and body fully. If you are meditating for many hours, then you don't need so much sleep, right? So that way we can figure out our own balance, and that's the approach, right? Even Sonali, you can experiment and see whether your sleeping time has changed, whether you are able to wake up naturally without a bell. Those things you can try and see.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ
Again, very faint.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ does this proliferation of thoughts increase due to lack of sleep?
It could be. Even the body aches, pains if you don't get enough sleep, right? So you can see sleep deprived symptoms in your body. You can see them in your mind as well. So you have to, that's why I said it's important that you figure out your own balance. Too much sleep would also create problems. Too little sleep would also create problems. Let's say if you sleep for like 10-12 hours, as a result, your mind can go crazy sometimes because you are having too much sleeping hours, and the other extreme comes during the daytime, right? So it's not always about sleeping, like the Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping only won't solve problems. Sleeping through problems won't do, right? So we have to sleep a certain number of hours to support our body and mind, but we have to do certain number of hours of meditation as well. That way we can experiment and figure out our own balance.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ thank you very much ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. Merits for you ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. තෙරුවන් සරණයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
Thank you, Panchani, and thank you to everyone who asked questions as well. We are now slightly over time, so I will now begin to conclude the session. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank Venerable Homagama Dhammakusala for his continued guidance on this program. And we can't also forget the Chief Abbot of Nisaranavanaya, Venerable Udayagama Dhammajiva Mahathero. May this merit help to improve their own practice as well. Much merits to everyone who has helped us organize this session to bring it to you every week. And thank you to anyone who's watching later on and giving us feedback, and anyone who is watching currently our YouTube feed as well. As usual, we would bring the session to you 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time. I hope you can join us and spread the word to everyone. And if you have any questions, as usual, please do write to us. I will now end the session for everyone. May you all have a happy and mindful week ahead.